Well, many of you have sent questions in to our email account, and we want to bring it on with some of those questions right now, Pat. This is Jennifer, who says, I know my pastor's supposed to be my spiritual leader, but I also know that my pastor's daughter is having sex outside of marriage. Frankly, I think this tarnishes the reputation of the whole family, and I think that they should kick the daughter out of the house. I don't feel as if I can take my pastor's spiritual counsel anymore because he can't even control his own household. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Jennifer, it's not your job to tell anybody how to control their own daughter, and you think he ought to kick her out. Well, hey, big deal. That's your opinion, but that doesn't control. Nevertheless, the Bible does say that an elder has to have his family in subjection. They have to be obedient to the things of God. Chances are that pastor doesn't even know what his daughter's doing. They live in the clouds someplace, and the daughter's out messing around and doesn't tell her daddy. But nevertheless, you say you can't take his spiritual counsel. The nice thing about America is that there are many churches and many denominations, and it's a pity that we don't have the Church of Newport News or the Church of Brooklyn, but we don't have that. In the old days, they had one church in Corinth, one church in Ephesus, and so forth. They embraced them all. Now you don't have that. So I would recommend that you seek another fellowship where you have more confidence in the pastor. You might tell the poor man, he might not know, and you might, but if you're going to do something like that, I do recommend you bring a couple of elders of the church together and say, Pastor, look, we love you, but you've got a situation at home that is hurting your testimony. But
I know things are different for a pastor, but I also know that sometimes parents do something like this because they are the only spiritual influence in their child's life.
Well, most parents want to believe the best for their kids. And so somebody comes and says, well, your daughter's sleeping around. Oh, I don't believe that precious child is doing that. Okay, what's next?
This is Sandra, who says, how should Christians observe the biblical Sabbath, sundown Friday evening to sundown Saturday evening? Shouldn't we treat it as more holy than just the start of the weekend?
It's up to you, but, we are not under various days and months. You read what the Apostle Paul said, we're not subject to the old laws, and that's part of the old law. But the eternal truth that you find in the Ten Commandments is that human beings need a day of rest, 1 out of every 7. And what we've done in our society today is keep the commercial engine going 7 days a week, 24/7. It never ends. The television never ends. It's always there, so we don't have a chance to rest. The idea is the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It was made as a day of rest, relaxation, and focusing attention on the Lord. So whether it's Friday, Saturday, Friday is for Muslims, Saturday for Jews, Sunday for Christians.
Take your day.
Take your day. Okay.
This is Kenneth, who says, I've heard a lot of people think we're close to the end times, but I think they're way off. Here's my theory. In Deuteronomy 7:9, it talks about God keeping his covenant to, quote, 1,000 generations. If every generation is 40 years, that means God's covenant lasts 40,000 years. Since God made that promise 4,000 years ago, I think we have quite a ways to go before the end times. What do you think about that theory?
I think you're too smart by half. I think you've over-spiritualized. Look, God can keep that in heaven. He can bring this world to an end and still keep thousands of generations along the way. Nobody knows the time or the day when the Lord's coming back. Jesus himself, when he was here, said the angels don't know it, the Son doesn't know it. Jesus said, I don't know when I'm supposed to come back. It's only in the Father's hand. I mean, he himself said that. It's in the Bible. So for us to sit down and say thousands of generations, no way. But I do think that the times are beginning to show fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Things are lining up that are in accordance with the Bible. And one of them, we talked to a man from Israel, I think the regathering of the Jews in Israel is one of the great signs of our time. Well, thank you very much for all your questions. We welcome your questions, and please send them. And don't you know, hold back. We'll take as best we can and answer what you've got.